Hello and welcome to another Tech Campus Coffee live webinar. This is an opportunity for you to learn about career paths at Tech directly from professionals in your field.
We'll be speaking to technical representatives from a variety of fields at Tech, and they'll share why they enjoy what they do.
Participants also have a chance to directly ask speakers and recruiters questions and get a good understanding of why Tech is a great place to work, as well as where your strengths, talents, and learning opportunities lie. But let's maybe introduce our guests and we'll get them talking a bit about themselves. So our two guests are Fiona Liu. She's a senior project engineer, and the other guest is Brad Steane. He's a senior engineer from Highland Valley Copper. So maybe Fiona, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Fiona. I'm now a project engineer on one of our Tech's water management projects. And I before becoming a project engineer, my background is civil engineering and structural engineering. So I spent over 20 years in that designing or engineering field with various EPC and consulting firms. And then I joined Teck as a project engineer, mainly actually focus on the engineering management and project management now. But the the 20 years of the engineering design experience has actually enabled me to be able to understand the concept and then better, track status of the engineering and, coordinating with all this risks analysis or the mitigation of the risks, and then make sure the actions are taken to resolve these issues. More importantly, get people together as a team to work towards our goal. So I think the civil engineering background provided me a solid background on this. The project that I'm working actually requires the civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, instrumentation engineers, all disciplines to work together for the project. And also there is one very important factor here is permitting or our permitting group. So the engineering also support the permitting work for the project.
Great.
And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Fiona. That's great. All right, and then what we'll do is, how about Brad, we'll get you to sort of talk a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start peppering your guys with questions.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Brad Steane. I'm a civil engineer at Highland Valley Copper. It's one of Tech's operations in the interior of British Columbia, just outside of Kamloops. I've been here for just coming up on 10 years now at this property. Prior to coming to Tech, I was just under 10 years again in heavy civil construction, mostly across Western Canada, and then joined Tech and been in Highland Valley Copper since. So my role at Highland Valley Copper, I am in a department of engineers that support our operation. So we are a 130,000 ton a day copper mine. We produce around 300,000 tons of copper per day. Sorry, 300,000 pounds of copper a day. And to keep that operation going, I'm in a team of about 20 engineers in our department. And we look after about $20 to $25 million of projects, capital investment projects annually across the site. So on my plate at any given time, I can have projects for well, currently I'm working on some design work to support our autonomous hauling truck system and segregating autonomous areas versus non-autonomous areas. I've designed and built dewatering systems for our pits. I've put in a new wastewater treatment plant on our site, constructed the explosives facility. So it kind of is a pretty broad scope of work that we do on site. And as a civil engineer, a lot of our tasks kind of are multidisciplinary project leads on large capital projects. And that being said, there's any number of tasks on my desk to support the current operations for ongoing things. We are always looking at moving water from pits. We're always sizing pumps and pipelines and supporting the operations just through their daily activities. So, it's kind of a snapshot as to what I do here with Teck.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. That's great. Perfect. Okay. Well, if anyone, again, I know Masaki's made a note. If anyone has a question, yeah, feel free to jump in or put your hand up or put it in the chat. And then also I have a pile of questions that I could ask you because I find that stuff really interesting. So one person has a question, I guess I'll give them first shot. Is how applicable is civil engineering to the mining sector? So maybe Brad, I know that you had sort of just referred to a little bit about this. Maybe you can sort of elaborate a bit on that.
Certainly. How applicable are we to the mining sector? A lot more than you probably initially think. Most people think that mining needs mining engineers, and it's kind of where it ends. But to keep the operation going, there is a huge amount of civil-related work to be done. For example, we built and have run our own potable water system, our own wastewater treatment plant, which I built. A lot of our roles come into being project engineering work, so taking the lead with consultants, procurement and contracting work to actually execute and commission capital projects. I have led a number of studies on tailings transportation and distribution. Might be a little bit out of the immediate area of civil engineering work, but as a civil engineer, you end up being a pretty good fit to interact with different disciplines and different specialties, and deliver back to the company what needs to be done. So I find that civil engineering is very applicable to mining. We fit pretty well with the operation, being able to support it, and keep the project, capital project and investment avenue moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Great. If you want to add your 2 cents on that one as well.
Well, I guess Brad covers it all. And other aspects, when I worked at the Red Dog mine, the zinc mine in Alaska, I think my background in the civil engineering actually helped me a lot to manage certain, projects, as also mentioned by Brad, like the water management project and some buildings maintenance and the access road. It's quite challenging at a Red Dog to maintenance the road. I guess maybe this is the same case on other operations, Highland Valley or at Sparwood. Any operations, this is always a challenge there. To find the good material and then to build the road, and then you need to do the survey and a certain frequency to make sure that our hot track, concentrate hot tracks, the mine pit design are all kind of well designed, and then according to this code, and then the all the regulatory conditions there.
Yeah, perfect. Great. All right. And then I guess something that I'm always curious about, I mean, we talked a lot about technology, and obviously we're transitioning as a company into that technology space. Maybe I'll start with you, Brad, but is there anything that you're particularly excited about? I know you highlighted that you're sort of working with autonomous trucks right now at Highland Valley Copper. Is there a technology or an innovation that you're seeing coming down the wire with Teck that makes you excited?
Well, the big one for us is the autonomous haul trucks.
Yeah.
So I recently joined the team on rolling out our autonomous fleet across sites. So for a bit of background here, at Highland Valley Copper, we've been implementing autonomous hauling area over the last year and a half now, and we are working on going across our entire site. So we have a fleet of 50, I think we're at 55 haul trucks now.
Oh, wow.
We are going to be implementing all of them to be autonomous going forward. So I recently joined the team. Now my role in this isn't so much how to automate the haul trucks. We've got the mechanical engineers and Caterpillar and the mining engineers figuring out how to actually mine with the fleet and how to make that part work. So where I fit in is how do we integrate this into an operating mine?
Yeah.
Mind here that there's over 1,200 people that work on the property, and there's a lot of norms about how we do our business, and this is going to change drastically going forward. So I'm designing new intersections that are going to have gate controls, automated gate controls, where people who are authorized to be in autonomous areas can be in there, and people unauthorized will still have access across sites. So there's a lot of road design work here, intersection design, functionality. So there's a lot of neat things coming up for me as a civil engineer that is going to enable the autonomous program to be successful on site here.
Awesome. Yeah, I know it's a super exciting time. I know at the coal business unit, we're also piloting autonomous haul trucks. So I think we're up to 12 trucks now that have fully autonomous. And yeah, similar to what you mentioned, we're operating in a separate pit, but the plan is to roll it across operations. And I know right now we're currently piloting at our Elkview operations. But yeah, it's going to be rolling across all the operations, and that's like a fleet of, gosh, at least 150 haul trucks across the fleet for the coal business unit. So it's a huge transition for sure. Yeah, it's an exciting time. And then the other piece of that too, I guess, is like to give people some reference on the call that might be civil and maybe don't know a ton about mining. You're picturing, a 2-story house, 400-ton truck moving without a driver, which is pretty crazy. So I'm actually really excited. I get to go up and see on Thursday. I'm going up to site to see some of the autonomous trucks moving around our Elkview operations, and it's I'm sure it's gonna kind of blow my mind a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And Fiona, on your side, obviously the other piece, technology is a huge part of it. If there's anything that you're excited about, or on the other side of it, I know you've traveled to a lot of the operations, and I know water management is a big challenge that we're facing, and something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, really, at the end of the day. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of the exposure you've had at the operations from a water perspective, or even maybe what makes you excited? I guess maybe a good place to focus on what direction we're going with in terms of water treatment.
Yeah, this is actually you can probably find some more information on Teck's website. What about our vision of this water management or water quality management in the Elk Valley? I believe we started treating these water in probably 10 years ago. We started a new group here in Teck to manage the water in the Elk Valley region. And so the first water project I worked on is Fording River operations active water treatment facility. That was back in 2014 or 15. We started the scoping study and then pre-feasibility afterwards. And then so that was called active water treatment. It's a mechanical treatment. So you get a whole bunch of mechanical equipment and tanks and pipeline in between. So you get a whole facility to treat this water. And now I'm involved in the Elkview operations phase 3, SRF phase 3. SRF stands for saturated rock fill. This is a different technology that we use to treat water, and it's not like the active water treatment. It's actually biochemical treatment technologies there. If you are interested, you can have a look at the Teck's website for the details. But what I'm saying is, right now the technology we're using is a kind of a naturally occurring biological process in a former kind of closed out mine pit, so that we backfilled with rocks and saturated with water to we can use those to remove selenium and nitrate. And then, so this is I wouldn't say this is a more advancement than the active water treatment, but then there's these technology are having their own challenges here. But we're trying to, the projects we're doing now is trying to prove this technology, and then to prove this is as good as the AWTF technology. And then in the meantime, this is, you know, a lower capital and operating costs, and then requires less time to build this facilities. Yeah.
I was amazed at the amount of water we can treat through saturated rock fill. And like you say,
Yeah.
it's kind of neat. The impact is so much less than a water treatment facility, and like you say, so more economical. So it's super exciting to see what we can do. And there was, you know, when we started this journey, like you mentioned, Fiona, we didn't really have an answer on how to treat water. So it's a pretty significant accomplishment that we've had that get to as far as we have, and be able to treat as much water as we can. So yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Okay, we've got another question here. Someone's asked, how would younger engineers in training contribute to the project? So I guess maybe if one of you, maybe Fiona, while you're chatting, do you have any sort of EITs or new graduates or co-op students that work within your team?
Well, last year, I remember I've seen several co-op students here. I'm not sure if they're civil engineering background or not, but some of them actually helped us to prepare the RFP package. RFP stands for Request for Proposal. So part of our work at Teck is to develop a scope of work for the project, and then prepare the request for proposal package so that the bidders can understand their work and then prepare their proposal for us to review. So the co-op or the younger engineers, they can help to prepare such a package, and then also assist in evaluation, like technical bid evaluation portion of it. You know, the RFP itself, other than the scope, you got a whole bunch of attachment there, the specifications, engineering drawings, and then material quantities, you know, all this stuff. So there's definitely something that the engineers can do.
Awesome, that's great. And how about for you, Brad? I think you've had some students and some EITs on your team in the past as well.
Yeah, lots over the years. I get EITs and co-op students to do all manner of work. I like to give people a chance to sink their teeth into some technical work. I've had a co-op student take the lead on designing a small lift station to assist with the drainage in one of our warehouse yards, for example. That was one that he designed and was actually able to construct and get operating. Endless work on site for managing drainage, upgrades to existing infrastructure. Lots of civil 3D drafting work. I had another co-op student do a bunch of intersection design and road design work for relocating some haul roads across site. Yeah, for entry-level people coming in, there's tons of opportunities and tons of work within the industry, within the company. There's a lot going on, and there's always something that needs to be taken care of. So
yeah,
when you have the smaller things on your plate, you get to sink your teeth into, and then you get to assist and develop some of the bigger capital projects too. And you kind of get to the $2-3 million range. You become part of the team to assist with RFP packages and contract documents and so forth. So there's all kinds of work.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I always joke with students when I interview them. They were like, oh, like my other job, I was a little bit bored at times. I'm like, oh, that won't happen here. We'll keep you busy. You always have a project. We never run out of things to do around here, that's for sure. So it's nice. And we treat our students like a full-time employee. You know, once they sort of try out a couple small projects, get used to it, and then, like you say, go into those larger scale projects, there's lots of opportunity to get some great experience. So that's awesome to hear. And Misaki, I know that you wanted to chat a little bit about how
Yeah, well,
students
maybe
on
we got
campus.
Marcus. Sorry, yeah. Maybe we'll jump while we've got Marcus. No, sorry, not Marcus.
Slater?
Slater. There we go. Sorry, we've got
Yeah.
Slater available. Maybe we'll get him
Yeah.
to contribute, and I'll talk a bit about afterwards.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Slater, I
sure.
guess I'm keen to find out a little bit. So Slater is a co-op with our coal business unit, and he works with our projects team, but just to maybe talk a little bit about what you've been up to and what kind of fun things you've had a chance to get your teeth into, and how long have you been up today so far?
Yeah, so talking about that, I've actually been up since 2 this morning, witnessing a plant shutdown with the engineer that I'm working with. So you get a bit of in-field experience as well if you ask for it and push for it and things like that. I would say that everything that the two before me have said is completely true. I think in my experience, you get as much as you ask for and as much as you show that you're able to handle. And so if you want a lot of responsibility, you can take on a lot of responsibility. And if you don't want a lot of responsibility, then you can just stick to the tasks that you're given. So I think it gives a good opening for all different kinds of people and different kinds of workers. I've been doing a lot of proposal review and checking costs and entering documents and whatnot into the online SharePoint sites and reviewing things like that. We've done a lot of work with purchase orders, so buying equipment and sorting out lead times for the equipment for our project. I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time on site as well, just learning new areas. I'm a mining engineering student as it is, but we're getting a lot. Well, I'm getting a lot of experience in the process side of things as well, so it's good to diversify. And yeah, I've had a great time so far. And my biggest thing would just be that you get as much as you ask for and as much as you can prove to your supervisors that you're capable of. So it's great for many students.
Awesome. That's great. And then, sorry, just to get a bit of reference to what you're doing right now. So you obviously have been in a plant shutdown. So you've been there since 3 a.m. today. So I appreciate you jumping on today. What kind of things are you doing? Are you just overseeing some like some maintenance issues? What's happening there with the plant?
Yeah. So what that we're doing, we tailings and dewatering sort of project just to extend the life of mine.
Okay.
And so the person that is my supervisor, he's mainly in charge of operational readiness. And so operational readiness, for those who haven't heard the term before, in my opinion, obviously correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems to be trying to hand over a project that the plant or the area, wherever they work, trying to hand it over without too much of a hiccup. So getting early adoption, because at the end of the day, the plant or the mine or wherever it is, they're going to have to deal with the choices that the project team makes. And it's really good to start making relationships and talking to the people on the plant level and getting their buy-in and all of that kind of stuff from the start. So today we're just here seeing how the plant locks out all of their equipment during a shutdown, just to see. I don't know as much as he does, obviously, but he's looking for some very specific things that will inform him of how the the culture of safety and responsibility and the chain of leadership and things like that work at the mine. At the plant, sorry. And so he's looking for some stuff like that. But outside of the things that I don't understand, it's just nice to be exposed to a bunch of new stuff that I've never seen before.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like you're getting a great experience. Good. Thanks, Slater. And if any questions for Slater too, I think he can stick around for a bit. I know you got to get back to it, Slater. So if you do have to drop off, just feel free to do so. But if there's any questions specifically about his experience, I know I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face, and how great co-op experience is here. But certainly it's nice to hear it from an actual student. So
sure. Yeah, no,
feel free to.
I definitely have time if anyone wants to ask questions and stuff like that. I know that it was very advantageous for me when I was a student to have someone in this position answering stuff for me. So I'd love to give back.
Yeah, perfect. Just to build on that about the student experience, because the Marcus's question about young engineers and whatnot is this starting this year, Tech has like even capstone projects for our students, and how they're getting involved in some of our interesting projects and future things. So for example, we have a group of students at one school that's working on electric vehicle infrastructure. We don't have electric vehicles yet, but we know we're going there. And so we've got this team of students looking at what will that look like, the cycle times and all of that. We had a co-op students going to work on, well, we got the autonomous vehicles that Brad was talking about, and a former co-op, sorry, now she's returned to school, and her project was going to be on a robot fueling station, because if we're going to go autonomous vehicles, we might as well go autonomous in terms of fueling. And so that was going to be a project, but it's been switched over to a Haltrek tire study. But I guess the point is that there are opportunities for our students to get involved in these projects, and you know, what basically our current co-op students are working on those, and when they return to school as well, and get credit for that on their, you know, the fourth year capstone project courses.
Yeah, it's neat to see. That's sort of fairly new for us in terms of getting some ideas out there and getting on campus in different ways. And yeah, we've seen a lot of former students that leave here and they kind of have projects that they really like to sink their teeth in, or something that we've seen that has come up and they've had some exposure to it, and they've been really successful on getting those projects into their capstone project and relating the experience they had at Tech to that sort of final year of school, which is neat. And obviously those high performers, the whole purpose of our co-op program is really, at the end of the day, it's to build that talent pool for future opportunities. And so that we can have people that we can hire as new engineers and really expose them to mining to get them interested in it, because it is a unique field for a civil engineer particularly to come into. You might not always think as mining as the first place you're going to go to, and maybe that's a great place for us to go, I guess. What brought you to mining, Brad? Why did you choose mining after going through the civil route prior to?
It was the stability and the work-life balance for me. With the previous company I was with, I was managing a piling operation up in Fort McMurray.
Okay.
And it was a lot of camp life and coming and going. And at the time, personal front, I was married and expecting a child. So I wanted to be somewhere that offered me stability, close to home, come home more frequently than I was from camps in Fort McMurray. So mining offered me that. So it's continued to offer me new challenges to my career that I didn't see coming initially. And it's offered me a better work-life balance at the home front here.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And then what do you do for fun when Kamloops? Are you a skier? Are you we don't have a lot of snow right now, but I know there's a ski hill nearby.
I love getting out skiing and mountain biking and hiking in the summer. And yeah, there's endless opportunities for recreation right here at Kamloops, all within about 15 minutes of my back door. It's a great place to be that way.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky as a company. Our our locations are based in some places where most people come to vacation, and we get to live here too. So, you know, on that side of it, you know, our schedules are user friendly in terms of, like, you know, I know with you guys, you work 4 days on and 3 days off. So you either do a Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. And then at the coal business unit, we do what's called an earned day off schedule. So it's you earn enough hours over 2 weeks to get every second Friday off. So you get a long weekend every second weekend. So not quite the same caliber as the HBC schedule, but we do okay.
They're long days. The 4 days on, they're long days, but it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll ask us later. How are you liking being in the valley there, in the Elk Valley, and the EDO schedule?
I love where I'm staying. I live in Fernie at the moment. It's just an absolutely beautiful place. Managed to find a very nice place as well with one of my friends, so it's even better for that. Already have my season's pass for the ski hole bought, so I'm ready to hit that up every weekend, which will be really fun. The EDO, especially for the area that we're staying in, I think that the EDO schedule is the coolest thing ever, honestly. Like, I wish I could work 4 10s and have every weekend off, but this is the next best thing. And it just gives you a lot of flexibility with traveling home if you live in like Calgary or Edmonton or something like that for weekends and stuff, or if you want to go on like road trips and things like that over the weekend. That extra day really gives you a lot of extra leeway to have fun.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That makes me happy too. I tend to be a little bit of mama bear with my my co-op students.
Stacy,
yeah,
let's maybe I'll get you to answer Marcus's question here, and then
sure.
Faluka, if you can put the slide up to get ready for the trivia, that'd be great. So before we go to the question,
Yeah.
so yeah, for those of you who don't know, we're gonna very shortly we're gonna switch over to a fun trivia to see who's going to win our year supply of fresh roasted organic fair trade coffee delivered to your door. In the meantime, so there's so Faluka's putting this up here. The main thing is using on your phone or whatnot, just log into tech.pigeonhole.at with a passcode. We don't need you to create a whole profile or anything, but in terms of your username, just please make sure to use your first name, space your last name, hyphen your school, so that we can identify you, and afterwards we'll email you with instructions on how to get your prize. Okay, I think I saw a hand go up here, but it's gone down. I don't know. Oh, hands back up.
Okay.
Sharma. Fire away. Is it about the trivia, I guess?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ashutosh, and I'm currently working at University of Victoria. And I have a background of civil engineering with a master's in structural engineering and a PhD in structural engineering as well. Apart from this, I have a working experience in several multidisciplinary research projects. We have worked in a research project funded by IC Impacts, wherein we have developed a water filtration system utilizing local agricultural waste, and we installed the water filtration system in a local drain, and we basically evaluated the efficacy of the system. And in another research project, we sort of developed a water treatment system wherein we installed the system at a car washing site where we expected the effluents coming from the car washing chemicals to be cleansed by a process known as phytoremediation. So what we did is we sort of use some plants, and we use some silver cells for stabilizing the surface beneath the car washing surface. And we use automated systems we use sensors and data acquisition systems which allowed us to monitor what's happening at the site while sitting in our own office. So so from this we got some ideas that we published a few patents based on water treatment technologies, specifically for water bodies like open streams, lakes, because in third world countries you would see that majority of the people, rural population, depends on open water bodies for their water needs. So with this background, coming to the question is, I am looking for some opportunity in tech. So can you suggest me where a specific role that I may fit in and which is currently open that I can go ahead with? Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks, Astis. I guess the best, and I'm trying to think of a role that's open right now. We have quite a few openings, so it would be a lot to wade through. If you've checked out the website, I know that we have at least 50 or 60 postings probably up right now. What I would suggest, I guess, doing a bit of research. You're not always going to see a traditional job posting. It might not say civil engineer in the job title, so something you could look for is project engineer. There's also some that are within the water quality group that could be like water quality engineer, but they could take a civil or maybe a couple different disciplines, or an environmental, say, for example. So
Right.
I guess I would suggest doing a little bit of research on the website, checking out a couple of the postings that look like something that would be relevant. And then you can also set yourself up for job alerts as well on our website. So if you go into the career site, you can set yourself up for job alerts, anything that mentions civil engineering, say, for example, or for water, if that's where you want to go. And then you'll get pinged every time one of those jobs comes up. So then you don't have to wade through all the postings that we do have. So I guess that would be my quick tip. I'd have to look through the website now to sort of see where we're at. Literally every single day we get new postings. I think this week alone we got 15 new just for coal alone. So there's a lot happening. There's lots of recruitment. So just keep an eye on the website there.
Okay.
Yeah, I took a look right now. There's 64 open positions that are posted. There are more positions, but just 64 that are posted. 4 water related, but they may not be the right fit. But like Stacey had mentioned, it literally is like whack-a-mole here. We just can't fill them. They just keep popping up, and we got to try filling them. So yeah, it's just a matter of just checking back.
Great. So here's a couple testimonials from some students that have worked with Teck as well. So sort of like I joked with when Slater had talked. I can talk about this stuff until I'm blue in the face, but it certainly means a lot coming from students. So we basically do a survey with every outgoing student at the end of their term to sort of see if their term was what they expected, what their high points, low points, all that stuff. And this is some of the feedback we've gotten from some project students that have worked for us in the past. So you could read through those. Like I mentioned, I was starting to get into it before the trivia started, but we do recruit every 4 months. So we'll have postings up for our May term, which will be coming up the postings will be going on the website about mid-January. And we also post at a lot of the universities as well, but it'll direct you right into our applicant tracking system through the Teck website as well. So they'll put you right through to our system. And you'll see some postings. I don't actually know, this is a fun time of year for me. I don't actually know what we're going to need for May. So I'm just in the process of canvassing our hiring managers and our sites to see what the need is going to be. But I suspect we'll have somewhere between 40 to 50 positions again. Like I mentioned, for January, we're starting 51 students for this upcoming January term. It's been a huge term for us. In the last couple terms, it's been 46, 42. Out of those, I think civil-wise, we sometimes can hire a few different disciplines in a project type role. So it could be a civil student, it could be mechanical. So I can't remember exactly how many civils particular, but I know for projects, we probably hired 3 or 4 different students this past year. And that can fluctuate. Right now, we have some capital projects going, but as we get into a little bit better coal prices, say, once the economy starts to recover, I suspect that we'll get more and more projects coming through, and that'll result in a lot more student hires within the civil world and the project side of things. So that's something to look forward to. Most of our co-op positions are 8 months at least in duration, sometimes up to 12. We don't often do a lot of 4-month. And just because it's the nature of the role, it's a big learning curve. So you come in here, and our projects usually are quite a large scope as our speakers had talked about today. So you can imagine that it's for 4 months, you don't get a whole lot into the meat of it. You're going to get just a smaller projects. Whereas if you want to get into those larger scale projects, an 8-month term is certainly going to be beneficial for you, or even 12 months. And I know Slater can likely speak to that as well. So that's a little bit about the co-op. I think I see a few things popping up here in the chat. Did I miss anything there, Misaki? I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to talk about.
I think we're good. I think we answered Marcus's question. I'm just going to click on those. And then, Marcus, another question here.
Yeah, so civils can apply for geotechnical roles, especially if you're focusing on the geotechnical side of things. Like I know some programs have some civils will focus on the environmental side, some will focus in the geotechnical side. So certainly, yes, I would say you can look for anything that's a lot of our postings for coal. I know I list them as geology or geological or geotechnical. You'll see them listed as, and you can certainly, if that's your area of focus, you can certainly apply for those as well. Any other questions? I think I thought I saw a hand pop up.
Yeah, and if Brad and Fiona, if you have to jump off, feel free to jump off. But stick around for as long as you can. And it looks like Andrew's got a question here as well. So.
Okay, so yeah. So Andrea, I'll just read off Andrea's question here. What would someone in a 4-month position typically do since they cannot work on bigger projects? So you would usually support, I can speak to it, maybe Brad, you can add a little bit more color to it, but for 4 months here, like I say, we rarely hire for 4 months only because we do like to see someone stick around for a while longer. But 4 months, you certainly can still get some really good responsibility. You'd probably just be supporting an engineer with parts of their project is how I've seen it in the past. Brad, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Sure, I can elaborate to this, and then I'll have to sign off for this. But typically I look for 8-month co-op terms, because it kind of takes a couple months to get your boots on the ground and figure out what you're doing, and then by month 4 to 6, and you can actually start producing some pretty substantial work. That being said, if you've got some background that you can lean on, any expertise in drafting work, say some hydraulics or any civil engineering related fields that you can bring to the table, yeah, I've definitely got work for you. So there's any number of things I can get you working on in a 4-month term. You be supporting some of us in the team on some of the project work. I'll always find some room for somebody to sink their teeth into something on their own that they can take away. Yeah, there's always work to be done here.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
So I'm gonna have to sign off, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, I look forward to seeing some of you guys in the future. And
Awesome.
take care. Have a good rest of your day here.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
All right. Yeah, last questions, everybody. Before we sign off, if anybody has any last questions, feel free to throw in the chat or throw up your hand. Otherwise, we'll maybe shut it down in a minute or so. People got to get back to studying, Stacy.
I know, it's that time.
Yeah, well, what better way to procrastinate than
Yeah, I know. My house was never cleaner when I was in the exam time. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, well, I think we're good. Well, thank you everybody for joining. And just to let